Today I'm here with Hadassa Meyers, founder and director of educational services at A+ Solutions. And today we're going to talk about the situation that many parents find themselves in right now. Schools are announcing that, at least for the start, they're online. And so that's pretty overwhelming for parents who've already lived through March until now with all this uncertainty. And we were just clinging to the hope that they'd be back in school. And so it's a now what? So my first question to you, there's this word, like we have brand new language around a pandemic, and the new word of the week is pods. So if I'm worried about my kids' academics and their social life, how does a pod fit into that? What can I do?
Okay, so the great thing about a pod is you're not doing it alone. You're not doing it alone, and your kid is not doing it alone. They now have a small social network to be in school with, that is huge, because the biggest issue that we're finding that kids were dealing with was the feeling of isolation back in March. So we want to really think carefully about that and how to make sure that, we don't have kids feeling really lonely, because we don't know how long this is going to last for.
So when you say like getting groups of kids together for school, are you meaning like they'll physically be in the same place?
Yeah, actually, a lot of parents are getting together with either neighbors or good friends who have kids in similar age groups, and actually working together. So perhaps they're all coming from the same school and they're working on the same online program. They could work together on their schooling. Everything doesn't have to be done, as a group, but they're all kind of working on the same program, and they'll schedule their learning time together so that they feel like they're in a little school. There's also situations where parents are just kind of finding other people who have similar age kids who might not be all doing the same program. They might all be doing their own thing, but they just don't want to be so lonely and isolated. They want their kids to be with other kids during the day. So they may all be working independently, but together in the same, in the same house or in the same backyard, however.
So it might be like a 2-year-old parallel play, but at least you're in the same, you're in the space with other people.
Yeah, and you can take breaks together, or maybe have lunch together, or, just feel like you're with somebody else.
And like, if you were thinking about it optimally, do you think it's better to have kids around the same age, or do you think it's just having peers around you? It doesn't matter.
Honestly, I think if they're compatible, it works. It doesn't really matter if you're the same age.
You know how when your kids are little, parents would form these babysitting co-ops? So you would take a turn and someone else would take a turn. Is that kind of what this is going to potentially look like?
It can be. It definitely can be, especially with more and more people working from home. You can trade off. Let's say you have 3 parents together. You're all working from home, but, you are supposed to be working. So it's kind of hard to be on call all the time. So if you trade off, then, when it's your week, you're going to do your best to kind of schedule your day around the time that you're monitoring this homeschooling pod.
All right, here's the worst case scenario for people, in my opinion. You've got to go to work, and you've got kids home who are home now, schooling from home. Education is all online. Is there a version of this that can work for those parents?
I think there is. You definitely need to have an adult there. So, it could be that you hire somebody, if all of you are going to work, it could be that you hire someone to facilitate this learning pod. And that could look different depending on how much input the kids are going to need from you and how robust their programs are. Some virtual programs are, the kids are really zooming into the classroom and they're really engaged, and then they have small little breaks of independent work. Some programs don't look like that at all, and they're really completely on their own. So you need to know what your child's program looks like, and you need to know what your child is like as a learner and how independent they can be. And that'll help you to decide what the level of participation the facilitator is going to be.
It's kind of interesting though, because if I'm the one running it as the parent,
Mhm.
I really might not be so great at it either. So we're not really talking about like best case scenarios right now.
Right.
We're kind of talking about survival for some people, right?
Right. Well, I mean, that's so for some people, it really is just survival. But I'd like to think that, we're going to be proactive and think about this in a way that's not just crisis management and survival. Sometimes you kind of get thrown into a situation and this is just the best you can do, right? But but I think that's what we all did in March. We kind of just did the best we could and gave ourselves a pat on the back if our kids did any schooling at all, right? But this could last the whole year. I mean, hopefully not, right? We don't want to. No one wants to think that, but
Hopefully
like it
not.
could.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. But like we don't really know when this is ending, and that's like a school year or even a semester is a really long time for a kid. Like that's a lot of growth. There's a lot that's supposed to happen in a semester or in a school year. So I think we want to try, if we can, to get out of the crisis management mode and into the like proactive homeschooler mode, which is really very, very different, you know. So we have to like really be creative and really be thoughtful about what we're setting up for our kids.
Okay, so you've given such great advice. There's so much out there to think about and different ways that you could format what you're doing with your kids. But if I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, I'm so overwhelmed by everything you just said, and not because it's not doable, but because I don't want to be the one to do this. Is there a way, if I have the opportunity to, is there a way to outsource this where I literally think, great idea, who do I call?
Yeah, absolutely. So one person you can call is me. You can call A Plus Solutions because we're actually doing this for people. And we're doing it like start to finish. Like we're helping people find other people to pod with. In some cases. In some cases, people are coming with like ready-made pods, and they just want a teacher to come in and work with their pod, and we're hiring the teacher to work with them. In other scenarios, we're helping the families figure out what virtual learning program to use, and then determining what they need, whether it's a facilitator or a teacher to help with that program. So yeah, you can definitely outsource it. And I'm sure in other cities, you can find other A Plus Solutions, you can find other people to come and, jump in and help with this process.
So you will be the matchmaker for people, but also the ideator. So you'll sit in and help them figure out what is the best solution for their personal situation.
Absolutely. I mean, we're getting questions, all different kinds of questions and scenarios. I mean, for some parents are really like tied to their school and they want to stick with their program, and we just have to help make that work for them. And we're happy to do that. So it's as much or as little as you need.
And the other piece you just mentioned is that it might not be with anybody that I know. Like you might put two families together because you've heard from both of them and they're the perfect fit.
Exactly. I mean, the things you want to kind of think about is why are you doing this? What kind of input does your student need? What are you looking for in another family? Like, are you very concerned with exposure? Are you worried about who the other students that your child's going to be working with are going to be, who are they going to be exposed to? Like, you've got to kind of understand where all the other families are coming from. I think it's like important to be sort of compatible in that way. And then you have to think about things like scheduling and what's going to work for your family, all of that. But once, if someone is coming to me to help with that, once I understand what all the parameters are and what the factors are for that particular family, then I can work to match them up with someone else.
It's interesting because a week ago when they announced it where I live, that it was all going to be virtual, it just seemed so hopeless. And hearing what you're talking about, I feel like call A Plus Solutions because you can set up something that's so customized for your family. It may turn out to be just the opportunity that you were looking for. So I say to everyone out there, do it yourself, call Hadassa at A Plus Solutions. but there are going to be some solutions here that are going to really work for your kids and your family. Hadassa
Absolutely.
Meyers, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.